Hello, welcome to today's video. I'm currently sitting on my floor and you know what? It's okay. I'm owning it. Floors are nice. It's cool. It's fun. Let's go. But I wanted to talk to y'all today about writing. Because one, I love to talk about writing, and two, it has been a year since I started working on Project.Fate. Which is crazy because I haven't been documenting it this entire time. I only started like in August, I think. Why did I say that so like sassy? August. Anyway, but anyway, but I hadn't really written much. Like I was never really a writer. Growing up really, and I dabbled some stuff in middle school. I took like a creative writing class and I wrote some stuff in there, but in reality, like I wasn't a writer. I was an artist, and I would draw and I'd make characters and I would tell stories through that. So I knew how to make a story and whatnot, but I did not know how to write a story. Like write like prose and all that. And then one day last year I sat down and I'm like, I should write a book because everything I want to do in life isn't going to be until I'm older. And why waste the time now? I'm like, there's so many reasons, like excuses I'll make for myself, but why? Like, there's no real reason other than insecurities, lack of faith. Like, just do it. As Nike says, just do it. And that's what I did. I wrote a book. I like had some characters from an old story I had that I scrapped because I tried to write a book from that and like it didn't work. And I took them. I took an old idea from another story that I turned into a different story. Or I took the characters from that story and turned it into a different story, and then I took that plot and made it into this plot. And I just started writing, and the story just kind of took off and kind of became its own thing, and became Project.Fate. And then next thing I know, May 2024, I'm sitting in my math class staring at my novel that I just finished, which was absolutely crazy. But yeah, so it's been a year now. I am 2 drafts in. I'm currently on to my 3rd draft, which is going rather slowly. That's a topic for another video. But yeah, so I thought I'd come and talk to y'all about kind of like my writing routine and how the heck I wrote a book and how I'm planning on continuing it from like here out, because I really like writing and I don't plan on stopping. So yeah, let's go. So the first thing I want to talk about today is kind of what has happened beforehand and like how. Because I talked a little bit about in the intro about how I started writing it and why I started writing it, which I will continue to bring up that why. Because it is incredibly important to have a why. I will not stop stressing this in this video. It is so important. But yeah, so for draft 1, when it came to draft 1, I had hardly written anything before. I did not think of myself as a great writer. I had no faith really in myself. I'm like, I'm just doing this because I'm bored and I want to feel accomplished. Like, that's it. It was kind of selfish, but like, it's not like, oh, I just wanted to share this story with the world or improve. It's kind of turned into that. Like, it's turned in like, oh, I have these stories I want to share and these stories that deserve to be heard, and I want other people to know that like, hey, like I've experienced some of these things too, and all that. But no, it started off as like, I don't feel great about myself, so I'm gonna write a book. And that's what happened. And so draft 1, I had no faith in myself. I was just like, I'm gonna sit and I'm gonna attempt to write this book. This draft is to see if I can write a book. Like, just do the process not to see if I can write a good book. No. We don't care about this at this point. For draft 1, do not care. Do not care at all. Just get those ideas in your head onto paper. That is the only responsibility for draft 1. All you have to do is write. Do not think or care, just do. Just do it. Nike. But really, you just do not think, do not care. Like, I know a lot of people have said this, but it is so important. Like, have fun with it. Just goof off. I mean, I went over my draft 1, and I literally at one point, oh, my camera's about to die. But at one point, I literally wrote in my novel, just, I want to die. Just in there. Just a little, not even like in parentheses or anything. I just stopped it and wrote it. I didn't even finish a couple chapters in my draft 1 because I'm like, I don't know where I'm going with this. And I didn't. Which, that's just important. You just don't care. Just have fun, goof off. It's gonna be absolute trash. Maybe it's not. Maybe you are gonna be the lucky one and write a draft 1 that is actually good. But in reality, it's going to be trash. You're gonna want to gouge your eyes out every time you read it. I know I do when I look at my draft 1. But hey, look, I wrote a draft 1. I can say I wrote that. As trash as it is, I spent 6 months with blood, sweat, and tears writing that. And I am proud of it. No matter how awful it is, no matter how, Okay, y'all, I'm back. I plugged in my camera. But yeah, basically, it doesn't matter how trash it is. Just do it. Just do it. And I think I know may struggle with perfection. I do. I definitely do. But honestly, you just find out your why and keep repeating that to you. Every time you're like, this, I don't want to continue. This is absolute trash. I don't like how it's sounding. Just remember, remember your why. And just repeat that in your mind, and you're like, okay, let's continue. Let's go. And then you ended up with a draft 1, hopefully. So, now for draft 2. This one is, so draft 1, the hardest part is just to write it, to get it done. But then once you get past your draft 1, oh my god, draft 2, for me specifically, I struggled with. So I didn't do that much planning for draft 1. So draft 2 was okay. I wrote a draft. How the hell do I make it make sense? This is just literally in the beginning of draft 1 for Project.Fate. I had no idea where the book was going. No idea. I'm pretty sure in the beginning, in the beginning, the giants, in my story, talked. They would talk, and they wouldn't, because now they have 3 phrases that they just chant over and over. That's a major significance that didn't even, exist in draft 1. And, so much stuff about, Romeo and Emily is just all over the place, and, there's so many times where I just don't know where it's going, and I'm I just make them do something for, several chapters, and I'm oh wait, this is supposed to happen, and I make it happen. And then it's incredibly hectic and all over the place. In draft 2, I was okay, I have this mess. This absolute trashy mess. Let me make it somewhat understandable. And that is what I did. Draft 2, I focused a lot more on structure than prose. But, however, my prose incredibly increased. It got so much better. When I read my draft 2, I do not want to gouge my eyes out. I like my draft 2 enough that I am literally, for draft 3, I have draft 2 pulled up and then draft 3 right next to it. I am, basically line editing from draft 2. I'm just kind of copying it over. That's how much I like my draft 2. Now, how the heck did I get from an absolute abominable, trashy mess to something I like and am genuinely proud of the prose? Well, it's something called reading and critique. Because So my best friend, she's a writer, and I go to her about my writer problems all the time. And I went to her and I'm like, okay, how the heck do I make writing sound good? And she basically kind of went over my writing, told me a lot of good advice, like, first of all, make it as concise as possible. Do not repeat any information. Do not repeat words in the same, like, paragraph, because that just makes it sound weird. Read out your paragraph like, writing. And if you feel like you're doing it, read it out in, like, an obnoxious voice. Or, like, you're reading a Wattpad. And you will hear how it, like, genuinely sounds. Yeah, and then also read. Just read. The more you read, the better you're gonna write. And oh my god, that advice has helped me so much. I cannot thank her enough. I started reading again in July, and my writing has improved so much. So much. And when I mean read, I don't mean, like, unless you're writing, like, cheesy, corny romance book, then, like, read those kind of books, but read, like, books that you want your writing to sound like. Because whatever you read, your writing is going to sound like. I knew that because I started reading corny romance books when I'm trying to write, like, a really eloquent tragedy, and I'm like, and then the writing started to sound like a corny romance book, and I'm like, this isn't right. And so then I switched over my reading genres for a little while, and I'm still switching over my reading genres. Now, I'm not saying anything's wrong with corny romance. I love me a good corny romance, but that's off topic. But yes, so basically draft 2 is mainly about making it sound good, fixing the structure, and just trying to consistently remind yourself of the why. Because your why is going to get you to continue going even when you think writing is the worst thing in the entire world and you are regretting your decision. Remember your why. Just remember your why. It is the most important thing. Always remember your why. Just do it. Swear to God, do it. But yeah, I think that's it for draft 2. So draft 3. Now, I am only, like, not even 10k words into draft 3, but I wanted to talk kind of about my plans, where I want my draft 3 to kind of go, and what I'm focusing on with my draft 3, because draft 2, so I started focusing on, like, prose more, but not as heavily. It was a lot more about structure, and making this plot continuous, and, like, making it make sense with arcs, and all that, but there's still too much problems with theme, and even, like, character traits and character stuff that, like, I couldn't even really finish, like, the last portion of draft 2, because I'm like, I need to be able to tie it all together, and I can't. I don't have the substance there to tie it together, because I didn't focus on that. Draft 3, I'm like, okay, it's all characters and prose, baby. It's like, every single word in my draft 3 is particularly chosen to enhance the plot. That is how particular I'm going to be with draft 3. And is it slowing me down incredibly because I feel like everything is crap and I don't want to do anything, and it's just driving me crazy because I just it's perfectionism. Yes, but will I be happy later on? Yes, I am going to continue trying my hardest and trying to remind myself of my why. But yes, there's a lot of line edits, getting the voices down flat. That is why I'm only writing one POV at a time. I am writing in my entire Act 1, but only of Emily's POV right now, and later I will move on to Act 1 Romeo's POV, and then once I get Act 1 all fleshed out, I will move over to Act 2 Emily, then Act 2 Romeo, and that is how it's going to be, because I need consistent voice. It's something I struggle with, and I'm going to tackle it this draft. Okay, and I'm trying to be a little bit more lenient on myself on deadlines, because, like, word counts don't really matter as much, but I'm still forever going to be strict on myself, because, girl, set yourself, or even if you're not a girl, set yourself deadlines. It is going to help you in the long run. We'll talk about that later. Okay, now that I have talked about what has happened, what is going on, how everything has happened, where I'm at, where do I want to go. So the goal for me is I want to traditionally publish this. And I am being insane, and I want to try and get a contract by the end of 2025. It's the end of 2024. I have a year. We'll see what happens. Because my dream is to have this published. I would love, 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 love to traditionally publish, but that is not always an option. If I have to self-publish, I am going to, because this book is going to be out in the world someday. Hopefully soon, before I'm 18. Hopefully before the end of this year. But I'm planning on starting to query in the early spring, which means my draft 3 is going to be hopefully done by then. The rate it's at, that may change, but I'm going to work my tail off. I will promise you that. And if I fail, and I do not work my tail off, and I never pick up this draft again, you can have my head. I will give you could, no, actually don't chop off my head, please. You can take a finger, any finger you like, you can take it. Because I'm determined, okay? But I'm just trying to constantly remind myself of my why, and just use that as my sole motivation to get off my butt and write. Though I do have a ton of school stuff and other projects I'm working on that are currently hindering it. It's not that I'm lazy right now, it's just I have so much work to do. I probably will actually have more next semester, but we continue. Always on the grind. Which actually you should watch in the video I just posted, which is about staying on the grind and loving it. Enjoy the grind, y'all. But anyway, I'm just trying to believe in myself. I'm also gonna start looking for more peer critique, because I've only really talked to my best friend, and I've shown it to my mom and another friend of mine. But I'm gonna show some more, because I think peer critique is very, very helpful. And it helps me because I've been staring at this draft for a year now, so I'm not as observant to all of its flaws as someone with fresh eyes maybe. I'm also really, really, really trying to film more, which is what I've been saying in like so many of my videos, but I really want to start documenting it more and having fun talking to y'all about it more. So yeah, that brings us into the third section of today's video, my advice for all young writers, old writers, published writers, maybe not so much published writers, this is more geared to unpublished writers, but you know, published writers can be influenced? Oh well, influenced from this too. But have a why. That is my number one advice. Always have a why. Always remind yourself of that why. If you have to have it tattooed on your body, then that is what you must do to remember your why. I currently do not have it written out, so do as I say, not as I do. Okay. And then set deadlines for yourself, especially draft 1. Like, I get, like, workouts don't matter in the very long run, don't obsess over them, but they are a great way to set deadlines. For me, my goal with draft 1 was to write 10,000 words each month. And that meant I had 8 months, because I was trying to hit 80K. I think I ended up finishing it in 6 or 7 months. And it's just really helpful, because if I write 10K a month, that's only 300 per day. And that's tackable. Tackleable. And it's easy. It's a lot less daunting than saying 10,000 words in a month than just saying 300 words a day. Simple. And even 2K a month, 20,000 a month is 600 words. Oh, actually kind of closer to 700, but still decently tackable. Have fun with writing. I know I said like multiple times, I absolutely hated writing during this process, but just have fun with it. Like, especially with your draft 1, goof around, write some little notes in it for yourself to read later on and be like, haha, funny me. Haha. Yeah, again, do not care about your draft one. Do not care. Do not care. Do not care. Just don't. I see you trying to care. Don't. Okay, don't care how it sounds. Care about why you're writing it. Care about why you're writing it. Always care about why you're writing it. And it's, yeah. And it doesn't matter if it sucks. It does not matter. Especially on the first draft. Later draft 2 and 3, you don't want it to suck. But it's going to suck. It's just going to. It's going to get better, and it's going to suck less every single time, but it will still suck, because New York's human, and it's just going to get better until it sucks to a tolerable amount where you can say, this is great. I am proud of this. Okay? And then read. Reading helps you write. The more you read, the better you write. Promise you. And read in your genre. If you don't like, you don't have to really, I don't really constantly read in my genre, but read prose that you like. And prose that sounds good. You don't really have to plan for draft 1 as much. It is helpful. You don't have to, but I would advise at least planning for draft 2 and 3. It is a lot more helpful because that's when you're trying to get everything to be cohesive and structured and flowing nicely. So I would suggest you don't have to do it, but I would suggest planning. I wish I planned more. And then again, be open to critique. I'm trying to be more. It's very helpful, very inspiring, very motivating, or also demotivating at the same time. But just as long as you know, hey, my work is gonna suck, and other people's may be yeah, it sucks, but I tried, didn't I? And I have this awesome why that's going to keep me motivated. And if your why isn't keeping you motivated, find another why. You can always do that. So yeah, that is my spiel. I hope you liked it, and tell me what you think about this writing advice, and if I should do more, because I like yapping about writing, and I hope y'all like listening to my yapping. Imagine if someone watches this in 10 years and it's what's yapping? That'd be kind of weird. It's probably gonna happen. Well, I don't think anyone in 10 years will watch this video. Anyway, enough rambling. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you got something out of this video, and yeah, I hope to see y'all again soon. I should have a vlog coming up, hopefully, maybe with me actually writing, probably. Anyway, but yeah, I will see y'all later. Bye.